Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and the 49ers are not in the Super Bowl, unfortunately, but we do have a little bit of some news to talk about regarding the 49ers. So we're going to get right into it. You know the vibes. We got to drop the little intro before we get into it, and here we go. What is up, everybody? It's Super Bowl Sunday. I wish we were at the Super Bowl. We wish we were live in Arizona, all that, da 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 da, but we're not. And it's a little bittersweet because this is the last game of the season officially, and then it gets down to the off season's officially here, but I mean it's really nitty gritty starting tomorrow after the last football game. So last one for all the marbles, Chiefs and Eagles. But the 49ers, they have had a lot of noise in the postseason, and they've had some noise already in the offseason. And today, as we know, D'Amico Ryans took another coach from the 49ers staff. We're going to talk about it. How's everybody doing? Christy Marie, Raphael, Jordan says it should have been the Niners. We all agree with it. I wish we were in the Super Bowl, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we can't change the history. I totally wish we could and sit here and be talking about the Niners, but we're not. We're going to be talking about Bobby Slowik, 49ers passing game coordinator. He was taken by D'Amico Ryans, and he will be the offensive coordinator for D'Amico and the Texans. So D'Amico's taking a lot of coaches and staff. He's probably going to take some players. We talked about this, that D'Amico's going to take some coaches and players that he's familiar with and stack his team. When you go to a new job or you become a boss somewhere, you're always going to find people that you've worked with through your years and trust to build your staff. That's just the way it goes. And the NFL is a business like everything else. And that's what D'Amico's doing. So Bobby Slowik, he's been in the NFL for 10 years. He's only 35. He's a young guy. So he has a bright future. The 49ers have kind of promoted him through the last couple of years with the Shanahan offensive regime kind of losing some people. They've lost LaFleur a couple of years back when he went to the Jets with Salah. They lost Mike McDaniel last year. So, this guy's kind of went up the ladder on the team. So Bobby Slowik, passing game coordinator. Now he goes to the Texans. Now that brings us to who's going to replace Bobby Slowik as the passing game coordinator, right? So I think Shanahan's going to have to reshuffle his coaching staff again. And Christy says, Miko's taking everything in this divorce. That's what it feels like. You leave a divorce or you leave your parents or whatever. When you move out of the house, you take everything. Sometimes you leave it in a divorce. You take everything. D'Amico's taking everything, even the kitchen sink. He's taking the kids with him and all that stuff. It's like a sloppy divorce. It's a good analogy. But it's kind of crazy to sit here and think that every single year the 49ers lose coaches. And then they retool and they reshuffle. And it's like, okay, they're back in the NFC Championship. So that, to me, is just a credit to Kyle and John Lynch in making sure they have a great coaching staff, great players. And it just speaks more volumes to the 49ers, that how can they continue to be successful losing all these coaches? A lot of turnovers. And, they start slow through the years, 3-4 start, 3-5 start. I feel a lot of that is because of the coaching turnover. It takes time for the players to gel and get used to these new coaches. And then once they kind of figure it out, boom, they go on a run. So Bobby Slowik, right, he's leaving. So who's going to be able to take his spot? Maybe Brian Griese moves up. I think the quarterback's coach, Brian Griese, is probably the most likely candidate. Maybe he'll go from quarterback's coach to become like the passing game coordinator. It's a very similar type of position, and he can take like a move up in pay and just do a little bit more. I feel like Brian Griese was a very good quarterback's coach for this team. That's my opinion. Then you also have Clay Kubiak. He's a guy that's on the 49ers as one of their assistant coaches. So he could kind of come in and step into that role. You do have the tight ends coach, Brian Fleury. He's also a candidate. He did have some run duties with the offensive line coach, Chris Forster. So you got some staff members that can really take that leap above. So again, you have a lot of good coaches on this staff still. I like Brian Greasy. Maybe he gets a bigger role. I think he did a very excellent job as the quarterback coach. So we'll see. It's interesting to sit here and go like, man, another year we're losing coach after coach. We lost D'Amico. He's taking everybody, even the janitor. He might take me. He might take me to be his social media manager out in Houston. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing. We'll see. Stay by the phone. And you know what? D'Amico, he took the 49ers chief of staff, Nick Cray. Boombox Nick. He took Nick Cray, the Boombox guy. Taking everybody. But you got to realize it's an opportunity for these guys to get a bigger job. You know, they're working just as you and me, and they want a better job, better career, go up the path, you know, stack the resume. That's what you do. You continue to build in your life as a whatever you're working at, you want to kind of climb the ladder, and that's what they're doing. It sucks for us as fans of the Niners because we see people leaving. But also, too, Texas cost of living is a lot cheaper than California cost of living. Like, I feel like that definitely does play into it. You live in California, it's expensive. You live in Texas, it's not as expensive. So I feel like cost of living definitely has a price to pay in some of this. You know, you get more money, and your money stretches a little further in Texas compared to California. I know for a fact. I've lived in both places. Cost of living is very cheap in Texas compared to California because of the state tax. So we'll see. Chrissy says, no way you're a Niner. Yeah, I can't be leaving this place. You never know. You never know. Sacktown says Clay Kubiak will have to step up. Yeah, definitely. I think, again, he's another guy that on this coaching staff could kind of elevate in his role with the team. But again, I feel like Kyle and John are going to do a good job in making sure they replace whoever's leaving. I have no doubt in my mind. They've already replaced D'Amico with Steve Wilks, and I think that was a good hire. So I feel like the 49ers, they'll reshuffle it. I feel like later this week, we'll probably get some news on all the coaching updates and details. You know, usually a week or two after the Super Bowl, the team will finalize who their coaching staff is, and then the combine comes, and they kind of have their staff come together, and then after that, free agency. So be prepared in the next week or so. We're going to have a lot more answers. So the offseason goes quick, as crazy as it is. I know we're going to have like 6-7 months of no football, but the offseason definitely will have a lot of news. There'll be a lot of times for us to sit here and talk about what's going on, who are the coaches, who are the free agents. It's going to go crazy. And, you know, we're going to stay by, and we're going to cover it for you guys. So Sacktown says Houston is the place to be. Houston's not bad. Jason says, I'm from California, living in Dallas. I know. So that's as real as it gets. He knows the vibes. So Raymond says he doesn't want tired legs McKinnon getting a ring. Do you guys so let's talk about Super Bowl today. Let's talk about Super Bowl today. We'll get into that. Terrence wants to know, when does free agency start? It's usually within the first week of March, a week or so after the combine. So it's going to be around like March 7th. Off the top of my head, March 7th, 8th. That's usually when it starts. If once I find out the actual date, I can post it up. But if someone knows the actual date of free agency, let me know. But it's usually within that after that first week of March, typically. So we'll see. Chrissy says, I live in California Bay Area and been looking at them big, beautiful houses in Texas. So cheap. Yeah, I've been looking around myself. You know, eventually I'll probably move back out of the Bay. Maybe I'll go back to Vegas. So we'll see. GA says, I agree. Who's the next Boombox guy? I'm going to miss him. I don't know. Who's going to be the next Boombox guy? That's the big question. Because I feel like he had a big job in terms of getting this team amped up and jacked up and the swag he brought. Nick Cray, he did more than just the boombox, but obviously that was one of his roles. He was the DJ. He was the DJ during practices. You know, he got the team hyped up, and his role kind of expanded over the years. He used to be Kyle's assistant, just basically like his assistant, and then he got more duties stacked on him as he continued to impress Kyle. He's the team DJ, and then one year he just decided to bring the boombox, and it took a mind of its own. And then it got bigger and bigger as they got players that, you know, were more creative with it. You know, you had Kendrick Bourne, and then you had Debo and Trent Williams, and these guys, they just were culture vultures, and they brought that hype to the team. So that took a mind of its own. And I remember him telling me the stories about how that kind of went, and, you know, how they prepped for that. It's pretty cool. I heard Debo talking about it this week during Super Bowl Media Week. Just it's cool how that whole thing transpired. You know, he's going to bring that hype to the Texans. So whoever kind of replaces him as that team DJ has a big shoes to fill, because I feel like that set the tone for this team. It really got them hyped and amped up, and that culture, we can't lose it. We can't lose that swag that the 49ers brought out, because it's like nobody else. But gonna be a little different without Nick there, 100%. Christy says Sourdough Sam could be the next Boombox guy. You never know. Terrence says Trent and Debo got to pick a new Boombox guy. I'm pretty sure they will. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, we got to get a coaching staff set in place, and definitely the chief of staff for the 49ers is one of those positions. So we'll see what happens. Jay says, I'm from Texas, born and raised. It was cheap here. We don't have state taxes. I can see why athletes would want to move here. The houses are nice and big. Yeah, I've lived in Texas. I have a lot of family there. I was actually born in El Paso, Texas. I've been back to Texas many times in my life, and it's a cost of living is phenomenal. I remember when I almost moved there a couple years back. I almost moved there, so I wouldn't mind going there. In a couple years when I'm able to. Definitely not bad. A lot of big houses, and it's a very affordable. There's a lot to do out there too. Just like California, there's a lot to do out in California, but there's a lot to do in Texas. Great state. So let's see. My man Tommy says the Philly Eagles fans are being toxic. They are. These Eagles fans are talking like they won the Super Bowl already. They've got a good team. The Chiefs have a good team. This is going to be a great Super Bowl. I think so. Two top-notch teams. They're both the number one seed. Now, whether Philly or, we can sit here and be salty over Philadelphia all we want. But to be honest, they do have a good team. In Kansas City, they have a great team. They're kind of banged up going into this game. But I do feel that Mahomes and Andy Reid are guys that you can't count out. And Kansas City's defense, which we talked about earlier on my Instagram, that's the X factor. Can Kansas City's defense rise up to the occasion and get through that Philadelphia offensive line? The line on the Eagles, O-line, D-line are very good. And that's going to be, to me, something that the Kansas City has to prove that they can get over, right? Can they penetrate that O-line? Can they get to Jalen Hurts? Can they get through? Can Chris Harris, can Frank Clark get through that line and impact the game the way the Eagles line usually can during the season? They got 70 tackles or sacks. They have 70 sacks as a defensive line. You can't just make up that number. They have been pretty dominant. And then on the O-line, I mean, they're nasty. So it's going to be a battle of the trenches. And if Kansas City wants to win this game, they have to be able to get past those trenches and make Jalen Hurts have limited mobility. Because once he's able to run and they can do that all that stuff they can do with the RPO and, start using that game to their advantage, it's hard to beat them. But Mahomes, don't count that boy out. So Spags, definitely. Yeah, Tommy. Spags is a guy that he can game plan. You give him 2 weeks, and I think he can game plan for these Eagles. So I agree. The Kansas City's coaching staff, man, they are second to none. And again, that's why I feel like, Reed and Spence, they're two guys that I feel they have 2 weeks, and that's like 2 years for those guys to prep. So we'll see. And again, that's one of the things that I'm like, can you really count out the Chiefs? Because, man, you give this coaching staff that much time to prepare. They got a wizard on both sides, offense and defense, game planning. Hard to see them losing in this game. So, I hate both of these teams, honestly. Obviously the Eagles beat the Niners most recently more than any team. So I feel like there's some recency bias. We hate them. Their fans have been trashy to us. And we feel the sting of that loss. And we always are going to think about what if Brock never got hurt. We always are going to bring that up. The Chiefs, they beat the 49ers in 2019 Super Bowl. Never going to forget that one. They play the damn wasp play every single day. Every day they play it ad nauseum. We hate it. We hate the Chiefs. But again, I just don't think you bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid. They're the veterans here. They've been there before. They know what it takes. I think even though they're banged up, you just don't count out a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Him and Kelsey, Kelsey is the guy he's going to throw to. Every single play, it's going to be Kelsey. And they still find a way. So, I don't know. Peter Parker says, I'm still crying inside. Same here. My man, 49ers throwback. says, how's my day going? So far, so good. I'm here on YouTube just talking with y'all. And then I'm going to hit the road and drive down to Santa Cruz, hang out with the squad and watch the Super Bowl. I can't watch this game by myself today. I would be in shambles. I would be depressed. So I'm going to watch it with the big crew today. Usually I don't watch the games with too many people because I'm a little superstitious. But hey, 49ers aren't playing, so got to surround myself with good people. So hopefully you guys are doing great. I hope everybody has a good Super Bowl and enjoys the day. Super Bowl's fun, even if your team's not in it. We're going to watch. We're football fans. We love the game. We love to eat food. We love commercials. And we love Super Bowl halftime shows. Rihanna should give us a good show. She's a legendary. She has got such a great track list. I think her Super Bowl halftime performance should be great. So 49ers throwback says, I don't even want the Chiefs to win their third ring. I don't either. I don't want the Eagles to win their second ring in the last, 6 years? I don't know. So at the end of the day, I don't want either of these teams. CMC said what I said. I think he watched me because if you remember last week, you guys asked me, who do you want to win? And I said, nobody. I said, nobody. I don't want either of these teams to win. And then CMC said it, and he went viral for it. So I feel the same way, CMC. But at the end of the day, you can't sit here and not pick a team. You got to pick a team. It doesn't end in a tie. The Super Bowl can't end in a tie. So that's it. It sucks, but we can't end in a tie. So I guess I'm picking the Chiefs. We are picking the Chiefs. Unfortunately, we're going with the Chiefs. The team that beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl, because I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I can't bet against Patty and Andy Reid. My money's on Andy Reid. So Tyler says, if only both teams could lose. But sadly, got to go with the Chiefs on this one, since I want to see the Eagles fan base cry. I want to be able to tweet out after the game. I already got it in the drafts. So if I'm already jinxing the game. I already got it in the drafts. Cry Eagles. Let me capitalize. We're gonna do it. Cry Eagles. Cry. There it is. We got it saved in the drafts. I'm gonna save this. So if the Eagles lose, we're tweeting out cry Eagles cry. So I might have just jinxed the game, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to tweet that out if the 49ers or if the Eagles lose this game. We already got it saved in the draft. We'll see what happens. Do we have the Eagles the first game of the next year? They haven't officially announced when the dates of the games are, but I would love to play the Eagles first game of the season. Let's get it all. Let's get that game rolling. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine the amount of trash talk we'll have leading up to the game? All the receipts, all the hype. The hype videos will be incredible. So we'll see. We are going to see. My man 49ers throwback says Cowboys are going to do the same thing. I think a lot of people are going to do the same thing. So we shall see. Cowboys will be happy to say cry Eagles cry if they lose the Super Bowl. I think 100%. A lot of people will. And I'm not salty. I know people think I'm salty. I'm not. I really am not. I'm really not. The Eagles are a good team. I've sat here and said all week, Jalen Hurts has had a superstar type year. He transcended into a phenomenal player. He's always been a good player since college, and then people doubted him. I remember this offseason, me and Smitty sat here and we both said Jalen's going to be great. C-Mac was like, no, he's trash. And we sat there. I was like, look, I'm with Smitty. Jalen's going to be good. They got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. He became a really, really solid player this year. That O-line was amazing. 70 sacks. That defense is good. I'm just telling. I just am not picking against Patty Mahomes. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. It's stupid to me if you bet against Patrick Mahomes. He's going to make you look silly. That's just my take on this game. Chiefs, I hate them. I would have hated to play them. I think that's a matchup the Niners would have had a hard time with. But, obviously, I think we could have beat them because, the 49ers are good. And, third time's a charm, really, in the last couple times we played it. But at the end of the day, we're not playing them. And you give Andy Reid that much time to prepare. I just think it's a no-brainer to me. So apparently I'm going to look silly when the Eagles win. We shall see. We are betting today. Put some money where your mouth is. I'm telling you, the Eagles will lose this game. If I was a betting man, I would say the Chiefs are winning this game. And we all know I'm a betting man, so the Chiefs are going to win this game, in my opinion. To me, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Let's see. That's all I'm saying. That's my take, is I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see. I'm either going to be getting receipts pulled on me, or I'm going to be pulling receipts. It's one or the other. But, yeah, Chiefs winning this game. Chris Jones, I said it earlier, I feel like Chris Jones, if the Chiefs want to win this game, you got to have a big game. Chris Jones, you got to come through. He was an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year finalist this year. Put your money where your mouth is. See what you got. And, again, that Eagles O-line is really good. But if Chris Jones can get through and get to Jalen Hurts and force him to lose his mobility and, stay in the pocket, that's the guy. That's the X factor. And then on the other side, offensive line, the Hassan Reddick, though, he's been playing out of his mind. He's been playing his best football lately during these playoffs and the last couple of weeks. He's going to bring the heat. Chiefs have to be able to stop Hassan Reddick. The guy's been a menace lately. Unfortunately, he was the guy that took out Brock Purdy. He's been on a heater. So can the Chiefs shut down Hassan Reddick? That's a key right there. So it's going to be a battle of the trenches. So would I have bet on Mahomes if it was Niners-Chiefs? Of course not. I would be betting on the Niners because I would hope the 49ers win the Super Bowl. But I think Mahomes can beat any team in the league right now. I think Mahomes, the Chiefs, no matter who they would play, no matter who the Chiefs would play right now, had it not been the Niners, I think the Chiefs would probably win this game because you got Patrick Mahomes, man, and he is on a heater. He's the MVP. His legacy, this is a legacy game for Patrick Mahomes. He wins this game, legacy game, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes this week against the Eagles. So we shall see. But in other news, the 49ers still have a lot of work to do. Again, coaching staff, we talked about it. Bobby Slowik to the Texans. And let's hope they replace him. Again, I think maybe Brian Greasy or Kubiak are guys that maybe get elevated in the coaching staff. 49ers typically like to kind of hire and promote within, but they have been able to take other people around. So we'll see who Kyle has his eye on. I don't know. It'll be interesting after the Super Bowl to see who the 49ers get into this coaching staff. And we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Everybody, leave your Super Bowl predictions. I want to read off you guys' Super Bowl predictions. Then I'm going to hop off here. We'll see. Again, I have it as, what did I say? 34-27 Chiefs. I got it. 34-27 Chiefs. It's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a hell of a game. Let me see what your guys' predictions are. And we'll probably end it. Let's see. Raphael says 31-21 Chiefs. Sacktown says the Eagles have not played one tough game all year. I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's. I hate to use the schedule, thing because, I mean, you just play who's on your team. You're on your schedule. You can't really choose who you play. It's the schedule is made for you. But I will say the Eagles did defeat most of those teams pretty handedly, So I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't play anybody because a lot of people said the same thing. Oh, the Niners didn't play anybody, da-da-da-da-da. So it is what it is. You play the games, you win, But again, I just feel the matchups. Kansas City matchups against any team. And again, you got the best quarterback in the league. So we'll see. All right, let's read these scores. So Raphael, 31-21. This is a good question. We'll get to it. Chiefs, 34-31. Field goal. That'll be a fun game. My man Tommy says Kansas City has a better run defense. And then Nathan says 35-28 Chiefs. 34-20 Chiefs from John. Alexander Beltran, 27-24 Eagles. That's a close one. 49ers throwback says Anthony Lynn is staying. I think so. Maybe he's a guy that gets elevated as well. So I didn't even mention Anthony Lynn. That's the guy that may be promoted on this team as well. Run game coordinator. Maybe he takes a different role on this team. Who knows? But the 49ers have still good coaches. So good stuff. Tommy says Hurts with 3 picks. If he has 3 picks, book it. Chiefs win this game big time. Holy smokes. Anthony Lynn he has met with teams, Commanders and other teams, but right now it seems like he might be staying. We'll see, though. 1-0 Debo. Eagles by a touchdown, says Christy. AJ gonna ball. Woo! Let's see. Let's see. AJ, Tommy says AJ didn't do anything in the NFC Championship. Devontae Smith didn't either. It's gonna be a battle. Gonna be a battle. Who's your guys' Super Bowl MVP? Obviously, the easy answers to say Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, the quarterback of the winning team. I say Chris Jones. That's my Super Bowl MVP. Because if the 49 or if the Chiefs want to win this game, they have to get to Hurts. They got to force turnovers. They got to create the ruckus. They got to disrupt that O line of the Eagles, who are very good. So I think Chris Jones, he's got to come in and show why he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and I think it's gonna be Chris Jones, Defensive Player of the Year finalist, and I think that he will win Super Bowl MVP. That's a bold take. I know it's crazy, but I like to be bold. Sacktown says they have Hurts favored to win the Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, I would see why. Again, I think a lot of people have the Eagles winning this game, and usually quarterback's the team that, or the position that wins on the winning team. So I don't see it as a horrible take. Again, I think most people would tell you it's going to be Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, but I like the defense in this one. We shall see. Now, if the Eagles win this game, I'm going to be keeping my lips shut. If the Eagles lose this game, they ain't going to be shut for too long. So let's hope that this is a good game at the end of the day. That's all we want. A good game. It's going to be a fun one. Exactly. Should be a battle between the two number one seeds in the NFL. And that's all I want is a good game. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Nigel says, how is Mahomes' ankle? All week, they've reported that it's good. Shouldn't be a factor. He's had 2 weeks to rest it. I think Mahomes' ankle isn't a factor in this game. He should be good to go. He played through it during the last couple of weeks, so I don't think we're going to see any issues with Mahomes' ankle. So, good game. Good game. Let's see what happens. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and let's go Niners, regardless of who's in the Super Bowl. Bang, bang. Niner gang.